So I feel kind of the same way where I've been told my feet are flat, I need motion control, shoes, blah, blah, blah. But I've done most of my running miles in minimal and or zero drop or low drop shoes. I don't think I've owned a pair of like motion control stability shoes since like college. I don't know. It's been over a decade. So, yeah, I think that, good running technique, good training habits, um, rotating shoes, having a shoe rotation, strong feet, working on your feet are important as well, but also just comfort. The shoes I select are just comfortable. And that's the number one thing we need when it comes to picking shoes is just find pairs that are comfortable, that fit the shape of your foot as you wear them. That's going to be a good pair of shoes for you.
So, tips for cutting 30 seconds off your 5K time. There are a few things you can do not even training related. You could take the tangents a little better on the course. You could slow down on the hills a little more to preserve your stamina. So overall, um, your energy levels are a little better due to just not expiring on any hills, for example. I don't know, pacing wise, you could pace better. Going for even or maybe a slightly negative split is better than, and I don't know if I'm not saying you did this, going out too hard and puttering out. Um, Getting a faster pair of shoes could cut some time off as well. Nailing your evening and pre-run nutrition could make the run a little faster as well. So, running coach here, and you do not need gym access. You don't need a ton of weights to do cross training, general strength and mobility, running specific strength work. You don't need anything but a sidewalk, a driveway. So check out the link attached to this tweet here, kylekranz.com/GSM, General Strength and Mobility. It has a warm-up routine, I think one or two an upper body routine, a running specific hip glute core routine. I don't think any equipment is necessary for any of these. And these are like stage one of multiple stages that I put my own runners through, that the strength, the programs progress into more dynamic running specific routines. But you don't need any equipment to get good running specific strength and mobility work in. So the average mileage per shoe is hard to say, but I would say it's extremely rare. It's probably never happened that if it's a pair of shoes I like that I continue to wear, I get less than 300 or 400 miles. I've gotten over 1,000 miles in a few different pairs. I run in most of my shoes until they wear through under the big toe or the upper fails or something like that. So I would say on average probably 400 to 500, and that's most shoes getting in that range, with a quarter or a third of them getting into that 600 to 1,000 mile range. So there's a lot, but a lot of variability. But I would say most get at least that 400 or 500. Hey there, running coach here. So I'm sure you want more than this. I'm just going to give you a quick vid, but carb loading for a half marathon, not necessary. If somebody kind of has a rest week, a light week, the week of a half marathon, for most people, even back of the packers, they're going to be topped off on carbs anyway, most likely. It can't hurt to make sure you're topped off. Easy way to do that is just with, I often tell the runners I coach, just drink some fruit, some apple, some orange juice the 2-3 days pre-race. Kind of top off a little bit with that hydration, some fiber-free carb intake. It's easy. Drink a glass 3 times a day with the meals. And mindful running, I don't know exactly what you mean by that. I mean, I know what mindful running is. I kind of look at running as the most active form of meditation. But, if you want to provide me some more deets on that, happy to make a comment. So when it comes to getting new shoes, there are a couple things I do for myself. I recommend for the runners I coach. First thing is have a rotation. And so when you have a running shoe rotation, I think I get more miles out of my shoes because I'm not in the same pair of shoes all the time. There is some research showing that that maybe could decrease your injury risk as well, because training in different shoes, same as running on different terrain, increases the variability. It decreases potential like repetitive stress. So I can run in my shoes for, on average, like 400 to 1,000 miles. I run in them until they wear out, like seriously wear out, because I'm not training in the same pair all the time. Also, that's usually like that's my recommendation is when they feel like they aren't proper for you, they're not good to go anymore, then they're not good to go. And for me, 800 miles is a...
So when we talk about carb loading, it used to be where you would deplete, you would not take in any carbs for a few days, race week, and then that would cause your body to supersaturate your muscles with carbohydrates, stored carbs for later. But not taking in any carbs for 3 days kind of sucks. So now it's suggested that you can just eat extra carbs for 2 to 3 days prior. You're good to go. So if the race is on a Saturday, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you just take in some extra carbs. And I usually recommend my runners make it easy and go buy some nice OJ, some apple juice, whatnot, and drink a pint glass of that 3-4 times a day. Spread it out. You're hydrating. You're getting some healthy carbs in.
So coming up to 300 miles, about your half marathon time, you're asking if you about shoes, need a new pair, not, etc. It really just depends. So I do always recommend having a rotation. So when a pair is due for retirement, you have another pair ready to go. You're not just like poof, switching all of a sudden. Dangerous. Also, 300 miles. Like if I was a shoe company, I would tell people to replace my shoes every 300 miles too. I really recommend, and myself, I go by feel. Usually it's 400 to 1,000 miles until I replace a pair of shoes or retire a pair of shoes. And I think part of the reason why I can do that is because I run in two to three different pairs throughout the week. I think that helps. And so regardless of where you're at with that shoe, that pair, bring a new pair into the rotation anyway. Yeah, go in Gingy. Oh, I've got some on right now. And they're my all-time socks, not just running, but like you, I initially started wearing them due to blister prevention. And one thing I noticed in the summer, like while just wearing socks around, going for a hike this morning, is that they keep my feet cooler. It's like wearing mittens or gloves. Like what? It's 97 degrees outside. Why would I put mittens on my feet to keep them clean and dry? They're going to sweat more. They wick sweat off my toes and my feet better. They're cooler for sure. They definitely stop blisters. So team Injinji, what is it? They say toe socks or no socks. And that's pretty much how I am nowadays, except for compression socks. But I do think Injinji has some compression socks too, and I had those in the past. Yeah, they were good. They were good. So when it comes to running easy, there are a variety of ways to do so. With a lot of my runners, we talk about nasal breathing, where you only breathe through your nose. You're running with your mouth closed. That can help. Also, doing like a mile time trial to get a current fitness benchmark and basing an easy pace off that, like a proper, nice recovery run pace, and having a heart rate or a pace alert on your watch can be helpful. I have a heart rate alert on here for 150 beats per minute, and if I'm running an easy run and I hit 149, it beeps at me and I slow down. I go into a walk for 30 or 60 seconds. And so you got to pay attention. Sometimes you just got to pay attention. Have your watch, look at your current lap pace, and keep it appropriate. It'll get easier. Okay, so best running watch, not going to break the bank. I like my Coros Pace 2. It's 200 USD, and I think when I purchased it 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago, might still be true. It's the lightest, and it's the lightest watch available. Period. I think like versus Garmin, Polar, Suunto, etc. And I believe it has the best battery life per dollar. So it's super light, but also has a killer battery life, like 30 hours of GPS tracking, 60 in ultra mode, and it is it's so light. So check it out. It's not expensive. They do have a trade-in program. They might take your Fitbit. So yeah, check out the Coros Pace 2. I think you'll like it.